Welcome back to OpenLine tonight. We are talking about your health and the health of the state of Tennessee with Dr. Manny Sethi here, joining us to talk about Healthy Tennessee, a nonprofit you started that really takes medical treatment, a medical screening out to the people in Tennessee that may not have access to it for whatever reason, in the interest of making people healthier. And not only is it the health fairs with lots of free screenings, but also a website. Can you tell me about that?
So our website, I'm very proud of our website because you can go there. It's www.myhealthytennessee.com, and we called it My Healthy Tennessee because we want this to be everybody's Healthy Tennessee, person by person. So you can go to that website. You can get tips about how to get fit, nutrition counseling, preventative health. You can go there about our most recent health fairs and where they're going to be. Our Facebook page, there's a link to our Facebook page and our Twitter feed, which really on a daily basis we share articles about getting healthier, about interesting nutrition tips, and we couldn't do this without our state field director, Michelle Shen. She's been with us, and we're very blessed to have her. And so it's a great source of information about how to get healthy if that's what you want, and how to get in touch with us.
Everybody loves to log on right now, or tweet or Facebook, or so. I think it's a great way to reach people at the very beginning, and then maybe draw them into one of these health screenings. And you told me earlier, and I think this is worth repeating, this isn't just a health screening where people go in and get a bunch of pamphlets. It's not that at all. At all.
No, not at all. And that's the thing. I think when you think of a health fair, when we first started this, that was the thing. We'd go around and say, we were interested in doing these health fairs. So I traveled around, we saw some health fairs, Maya and I, and we just noticed that it was a lot of, just booths with some paper, and when we really quickly made the decision that that's not who we are. And so our fairs, when you walk in, you see a doctor or a nurse standing there, and they may take your blood pressure, your heart rate. They put it on this thing that we call the passport. So they'll do that. Then there maybe be some fun stuff for you to see or do, and then you go to the next one, which is nutrition counseling, and then we'll talk to you about your diet and what you're doing. And then you'll go to the next station, which is maybe the labs, and we'll check your labs. We'll check your sodium, your potassium, your blood levels, maybe your blood sugar, and then there'll be some more fun stuff. And then you'll go to the next place, and that's an eye screening or some other form of screening. So we mix screening with more fun stuff, with massage. There are some massage tables. There's other nutritional things that are there, and by the end, you're actually having a good time. Because see, as we have been doing this across Tennessee, one thing I have found is that, look, if you're a healthy individual or you're a busy person, it's going to be very hard for you to go to a primary care doctor or have an incentive to go to a primary care doctor. So I think that one way of encouraging that level of primary care or that level of prevention is through these larger community events where there is a band playing and there are fun things to do, and that will really turn people out, and that's what we do. So on our website, for example, you can go and you can find the latest information, and we advertise on our Facebook, on the radio, occasionally on TV, and so I think it really makes it fun for folks to come out and do that.
And maybe a little less nerve-wracking too. Some people are really scared to go to the doctor. It's a very unnerving experience for them, and it can just be a pain sometimes. No offense intended, but you're going to wait in that waiting room forever, probably with sick people all around you. Then you're going to go in, the doctor's going to tell you everything wrong with you and how you're doing a bad job, and it can be hard and really distressing to go in and hear all that sometimes.
That's such a good point. My dad was a primary care doctor in Manchester, and I remember growing up, I'd go to his clinic, and if HIPAA was around back then, it wouldn't work, because they had these plastic walls basically, and you could hear everything. So every time I'd come there from school, I'd wait for my dad to go home, and I'd hear him talking to his patients. And I remembered one thing, is that he took so much time with them, talking to them about who they were and where they were from. And one thing at these fairs I have really found, and I'm an orthopedic trauma surgeon at Vandy. I've taken that into my practice, but I just learn about people and who they are and what they do for a living. And in that setting, I think people really feel that, look, you care about that.
Yes.
And someone once told me, people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Yes.
And so in our fairs across Tennessee, I've had these interactions where, and so many of my colleagues, where I talk to folks and we talk about what's going on in their lives and how they're doing. And once you do that, I feel like there's this bond that builds, or this bridge. And they're like, look, this person cares.
Right.
These people care, and that's why they're here. And that's the way you move the ball forward with folks. That's the way you get that light bulb to turn on, because they feel that this person cares. They want the best for me. And I think that, in the future of primary care and the future of prevention, it's this sort of a model that I really believe, it's not the only model, for sure, but it's certainly one powerful way that I think that we can get our state healthier into a better place.
And when you are going out into Tennessee and you're using those local doctors and nurses, maybe that makes that bridge to that local connection, that I can go to this doctor, I can relate to this guy, he is interested in me, he cares for me, or she does.
That's right.
And things get moving.
That's right. And for example, in one fair in Rogersville, Tennessee, way out east, there was a patient, and he was a truck driver who had been laid off and had fallen on some hard times and had gained a lot of weight. And I took his blood pressure, and I was using one of those cuffs.
Yeah.
And I don't do that anymore because I use the electronic thing. So I kept, kind of putting the pressure cuff, and you need to hear a beat, and I couldn't hear the beat. And I was up at 200, and I'm like, I can't hear the beat. Is there something wrong with me? And I went all the way to like 210, and I was like, okay, so that, and this guy's blood pressure was like 200 over something.
Wow.
So I started talking to him about what was going on, and he told me, he said, I've been laid off, I've got my 2 kids, and it's really hard for me. And I remember I told him, I said, do you care about your kids? Do you want to see your son play football? Do you want to see him graduate from high school? And he of course he said yes. And I spoke with him, and I could just tell. You can just tell with people. He heard what I had to say, and I think that in that moment, I really felt that he was going to change his behavior, and maybe because of that conversation, his son would have his dad at his high school graduation, would be there. And it's things like that I think that is why I'm so proud of the work that we are all doing at Healthy Tennessee.
That's amazing. Let's take a caller. We have Steve on the line. Steve, thanks for being with us tonight.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment about, the way that I was brought up. My parents fed us fruits, vegetables, and a portion of meat. Now we're on fast foods, gaining weight. Just the amount of calories that you intake is just ungodly. And Obamacare come about, and I got onto it 2 years ago. I went to the doctor. I was 238 pounds. My A1C, he did blood work on me. He said, we're going to do a blood test. I went back, I think, a week or so later. My A1C was something like 8.4, 8.5. I was 238 pounds. I should have been under 200. It took me 6 weeks to go from 238 to about 202.
Wow.
Wow, that's incredible.
A1C went from 8.4 or 8.5 down to 5.6. And of course, 3 more months passed. I'm down to about 192. My A1C is about 4.7. But I'm going to go back this week to have, a blood test. You fast and you go in. And it's the way people live today. They don't sit down and have a family meal. We got one portion of meat, and all the vegetables we wanted to eat when I grew up. But people have went away from the family meal and learned they don't know how to eat. And my mother was a country woman. This is the way she was brought up. Her mother, which is my grandmother, about 95, 97, she passed away 2 years ago. She was short of 95, a month or so. But healthy is, you learn it.
Yes.
And I went away from it. And fast food, sugary sodas, that fructose, or the corn syrups that they put in these drinks are killing them. It's just killing them. And people don't realize that. They pump all these commercials on TV, and they want you to feed you wrong. And to me, We got to get away. And if you look at the meals that they do at the school system, they're not good meals. I mean, I've looked at some of the stuff they eat, hot dog. Man, what are you talking about? You're pumping them in with sodium and all kinds of ingredients. I mean, it's not a healthy thing.
Well, Steve, it sounds like
it's not even healthy.
Steve, it sounds like you are on the right track. So congratulations, you're making impressive progress. Thank you for calling in tonight, Steve.
I've seen my aunt pass away with getting her limbs cut off. They cut her second leg off, and I said, once they take that first limb, that second limb goes, you're most likely going to die in less than a year.
Wow.
I mean, that's the fact. And I didn't want to. I said, man,
You had a wake-up call.
Diabetic.
Yeah.
I said, man, I don't want to lose no limbs. I like my legs.
Steve, thank you for calling in. We do want to move on just a little bit, but congratulations and thank you for calling in. Keep at it. That's a great success story.
That's incredible. Steve, congratulations and thank you so much. You know, Carrie, I think Steve's story is very powerful. You know, 6 weeks he went from 230 some pounds, his A1C was 8, and he dropped that within 6 weeks through just, you know, changing his lifestyle. And so, again, small changes can lead to very, very large, small changes in lifestyle can lead to very, you know, large changes in your health. And so, Steve, I'm very proud of you for doing that. Thank you for calling us. You know, I think that story, that somewhere along the line, you know, like you said, you know, my aunt, you know, lost both of her legs, and I don't want that. And so that light bulb, that's what turned on the light bulb for Steve, is what it sounds like. And that's what we need to do across Tennessee. For every person in every community, we need to have that conversation in some way, whether that's, you know, through a fair like we're doing, or on a personal level, you know, families talking to family. You know, that's what's so important, because, for example, in my family, there's a history of diabetes and a history of obesity. So I try to be as careful as I can be, because I want to be there to watch my children grow. I want to be able to go out and play with them. I want to do those things. And I think we all do as families. Every person across the state, they want the best for their kids. And part of that is that we got to live healthier lifestyles. We got to be healthy. And I think to every person, we have our own stories and our own things that drive us, but if we figure those out, I really think we can turn on light bulbs and really make a difference and make change.
And take one step at a time. Some people see that hill and they're like, how am I ever going to get over that hill? That's a big hill I got to cross.
That's right.
But if you're teaching people these stairs, one step.
Yeah, and so, for example, take smoking, okay? So I have a lot of patients who are smoking in my trauma practice, which is a problem. Now, some people say, oh, you got to stop smoking.
Yeah.
I mean, have you tried to stop? That's hard.
Yes,
that's very hard,
it's very
you know?
hard.
So what I say is, look, how much are you smoking? Well, I'm smoking a pack a day. Okay. In the next month, can you cut it to a half a pack a day? That's okay, that's doable. They come back, and the next month, can you cut it to a quarter pack a day? Okay. And just by doing that, small changes over time, you know, just like, you know, Steve mentioned, cutting out soft drinks is just such a important thing, easy thing that you can do that can make a huge difference through, for example, he mentioned, you know, increasing just the fruits and vegetables that you're eating. But in general, you know, I think people think that getting healthy is such a hard thing to do, you know, and as Maya and I have built Healthy Tennessee and we've traveled, this is one thing we're building in our own lives, in our own home, trying to be more health conscious, thinking about the decisions and the choices that we make, and what we teach our children.
Yeah, it all starts at home, doesn't it?
It all starts at home.
With those little bitty ones, just like we have.
Absolutely.
We're going to take another quick break, but besides everything that Dr. Manny does, from being a trauma surgeon to doing Healthy Tennessee, he's also an author. We're going to talk about this book, and I know we have Bobby on the line who wants to talk about it as well. So stay with us. We're coming right back.